Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So now I'm going to solve question number 3 of weekly contest 480. Minimum moves to balance circular array, right? So this problem is actually very interesting, right? And it's a good question of this weekly contest. So in this problem you are given a circular array balance of length n, where balance of I is the net balance of person I, right? Now, in one move, a person can transfer exactly one unit of balance to either their left or right neighbor, right? So, let's suppose if I have 100, 200 and 300, right? So, if I want to send, let's say 2 rupees from this person to this person, right? So, how I'm going to do that? So, I want to send 2 rupees, right? So, first one here, one move, and then second move, right? This is just for 1 rupee, right? I want to send 2 rupees. Same way for second rupee, one move and one move, right? So in total, how many steps I'm taking? One, two, right? Just for one, right? Then three, four for both two, right? So total two number of steps I'm taking, right? So here if I just calculate the distance 0, 1, 2, right? I'm not talking about circular array in this example, right? Otherwise, this is the shortcut, right? I'm not talking. I'm just see it as a normal array, not circular array, right? So now I want to send 2 rupee, right? 2 rupee from here to here, right? So how many moves that I'm taking here? So what is the distance between them, right? What is the distance? Let's say there are some other values 400, 500, 600. So definitely now minimum is this one only, right? But what is the distance here? Distance 2, right? So 2 is the distance, right? And how much I want to send? 2, right? So distance is 2, right? Minimum distance, right? And 2 into 2 I can do, right? So that nothing but 4 moves right here. So for one I'm taking 2 moves, right? 2 is the distance, right? So I have to send 2, right? So 2 into 2, right? 4. I will get something like this, right? So here what we have to return? We have to return the minimum number of moves required so that every person has a non-negative balance. If it is impossible, then in that case we have to return -1, right? When it is going to be impossible? Tell me when it is going to be impossible, right? So here let's take few examples. Let's say I have 4, 5 and here -9. So tell me in this case it is possible or not to make all values as non-negative, right? So yes, it is possible, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So then I will get 4, 0 and here uh, I will get -4, right? So now see this is non-negative but this is still negative, right? So in five moves I'm taking here, right? Now this is a circular array, right? So from here also I can directly send the money to here, right? Instead of this and this is a long path, right? This is circular, so directly I can send, right? So here also let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 4 moves again I'm taking 0, 0 and it is also going to become 0. So yes, it is possible, right? It is possible here. What is the total sum of all the values here? 4 plus 5, 9, 9 minus 9, 0. 0 is the total sum. Just keep this in mind, total sum, right? But now what I do here, 4, 5 and instead of -9, let's say -8 if I write. Now again tell me total sum. Total sum is 1, right? Here in this case, keep this in mind. So let's say 5 I'm sending from here, right? And 3 I'm sending from here, let's say, right? So I will get something like this, 1, 0 and 0, right? Okay, so cool, this is cool. But let's say here I have -10 now. What is the total sum? Total sum is -1. So here we have negative total sum. So in this case, let's say I send 5 from here, right? And I send 4 from here, right? In the end, I will get something like this. But it's still negative, right? Still negative is there, right? So in this case, we have to simply return -1. So from here, one thing is clear. If I calculate the total sum of all these values, and if it comes out to be negative, in that case, your answer is never possible. Just simply return -1. Clear this thing, right? Now after that, you are guaranteed that at most one index has a negative balance initially. So this is at most. At most means 0 index or only one index has a negative balance, right? Zero number of indexes, one number of index, right? It's not index value, it is just the total count I'm saying. At most means 0 or 1, right? There may be no negative in the start, or there may be at most one index having a negative amount initially. That's it. Okay, this is clear. Now how we are going to solve it? Let's see that. Right. So here in this example, right, what is the n value? N value is 3, right? Total, total here, it is nothing but uh, 5 plus 1, 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. Total is 2. Cool, right? And initially, let's take one variable negative index, right? And just store the value of this negative index to -1, right? So what this negative index is going to do, it is going to search for an index in which we have negative value. So initially I'm thinking that there is no negative value, there is no value in my array at any index where we have negative, right? So that's why I'm taking -1. But when I'm going to iterate over this array to calculate the sum, right, side by side I will also check all the values, right? And if I find any value as negative, then I'm going to update my negative index from -1 to the value this 2, right? Because at 2 index we have negative value, right? So this is what I'm going to do, right? Because if while iterating over the complete array, if I still didn't find any negative index, if it is still -1, then in that case total number of steps I will simply return 0, right? There is no change required, right, to shift the money, right, if all the values are positive itself, right? So that is the use of this. Clear? Okay, this is done. Now here, right, here this is done, right? Okay, so 5 we have 1, we have -4, right? So if I just give the indexing here, 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, right? Now here at this particular value we have -4, negative value. So how much money I needed at this particular value? I can say minus of what is this balance, right? So here balance at the negative index, right? Negative index. So negative index is 2, right? So at this balance is minus of -4, that is nothing but 4. 4 is the needed amount, right? I just change it to positive. 4 is the needed amount, right? So if in this -4, if I add 4, I will get 0, right? And this is what I want. I want to be non-negative, right? Clear? Okay. Now for this one, if you see, the distance of this to this is 1, right? Distance of this to this is also 1, right? So if I want to send money from A to C, right, let's take a little bit bigger here. Okay, let's say A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Now I want to send money from A to C, right? So here this is one way, go here and then send here, or this is one way, from here go here, then here, then here, then here, right? This is one way, right? Here if I just give the indexing 0 1 2 3 uh 3 4 5, so distance I have to calculate, right? So one is this, uh 2 minus 0, that is 2, right? And one is, what is overall? Overall, this is 5, and 5 minus 2 is 3, right? 5 is the, what is the total length? Total length is 6, and 6 minus 2 is 4, right? So see here now. So 1 is 1 and 2, 2, okay. 1 is 4. Why 4? 1, 2, 3, and then 4, right? So here this is nothing but I can say, my I minus negative index, right? And I will take the absolute value of this, definitely. Math dot absolute of this I minus negative index. So 0 and negative index is at 2, let's say, right? So that is why I'm sending the money, right? So I will get the absolute value here. And circular array, right? This is circular array. So here I will write n minus I. What is n? N is nothing but total length of this. That's nothing but 6. And I is, uh, here note I d, and d is the where negative index, where I am sending the money. Or you can say not d. You can say d is nothing but this value. Okay, this value, right? You can directly take this value, right? The this value is nothing but the smaller value that I am getting with this, right? This has small d, right? So if I do this 6 minus 2, I will get 4, right? 4 is the value, right? So if I write it now, so you have to create few variables like this. Int d is nothing but, math dot absolute of I minus negative index, right? So this is your d, right? And distance, I am going to say you are going to calculate the distance as math dot min of this d, and here n minus d, right? Okay, so distance, first you need to calculate the distance, right? Okay, because let's suppose there are few more values here, z, y, like this, right? There are few values like this, right? Now if c is satisfied with b and d, why c needs the money from z and y? Tell me. If c is satisfied with this b or with this d, which are at just one distance from c, then why c needs money from a, y, z, or e, f, right? So c is going to take the money from the nearby neighbors first, right? Because sending the money from b to c is going to take 1, and sending the money from a to c is 2, right? Same way sending the money from y to c is 3, right? 1 2 3, right? So we have to return the minimum number of rows, minimum number of moves, right, required, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to check all the donors first. I will check answer is possible. If answer is possible, I will check all the donors, right? So for this minus 4, this is one donor, a donor, right? So this donor is at a distance 1, right? And what is this index? Index is I, and this is distance. Same way, there is one more donor which is at distance 1 only, right? This is also at 1 distance only, right? Circular array. And this is at 0, right? So this is what I'm going to find here. Okay, this is helpful, right? In this case both are at 1 distance, so I can simply send the money from anyone, right? I can simply send all the money from here, right? So here, you can do one thing. From this you can send all the money, right? So in the end you will get this 1 1, okay, and 0. This is one way, right? Or you send 1 from here, then 3 from here, right? So you are going to get 2 0 0. So that is nothing but this part. So here if you see, 1 to this I send 0 minus 3, then from here I send the remaining amounts, right? but you can also directly send all the money from here to here itself, right? Then also it is going to take 4, right? So this is what we need to do, right? So same way here, 0 1 2 3. So for this, first calculate the total sum na? Minus 5 2 2. Here also total sum is 0, right? So if total sum is 0, actually I am going to use all the indexing, all the indexes, right? If the total sum is 0 here, right? So if some value is 0, then maybe we don't use that index, right? But if total sum is 0, then mostly wherever we have some value greater than 0, I will use that, right? For that negative part satisfaction, right? So here this is at distance 1 and at index 1. Same way this is at distance 1 and at index 3. Same way this is at distance from here, if you see 1 and 2, and from backward 1 and 2, right? So at distance 2 and 0, right? So first I am going to satisfy this minus 5 with these values, right? I will sort this array, right, that I'm creating here, this list of int array type donors, right, which consist of d and I will sort them based on the distance, right? And then after that I am going to iterate over all these values, whatever the different donors I have, to satisfy this minus 5, right? So 5 is the total amount that I need to send, right? At most 1 is there, right, initially. So it is going to satisfy it first, so it is going to become minus 4, then it is going to satisfy it, right? 3. So first it is going to satisfy, right? So 1, and again 2 value, right? Total 2, so again it is going to become minus 3, right? So here also, how much money that this is going to send? So required money is 5, right? Needed money minus of balance of this, needed money is 5, and this can send 2, right? So 2 comma 5, so only I am going to send a 2, right? So 2 into the distance, 2 into the distance is 1, so 2, right here. Then from here 2 only I can send, and 2 into 1, this, right? Clear? Now from here 1 I can send, right? So 1 into distance is 2, so overall I'm going to get 4 6, right? This is what I need to do. Very simple, right? Here in this example number 3, overall sum is minus 1, right? It is impossible to make all the balance non-negative for this balance, so the answer is minus 1, right? And these are the constants, right? Okay, see this example. 0 1 2 3. So required money is 16, right? So this can satisfy this, right? So at distance 1 from 2, this can satisfy this. So here 1 2, okay, over 1 2 2, okay, right? Okay, 2 is the total distance, right? So I can say 2 is the total distance, and at 1, right? This can also satisfy this. So the distance is 1 only, right? At 0, right? So let's say I sorted them based on the first value, right? First distance. You can write it like this: 1 comma 0, 1 comma 2, or you can write it as 2 here, index, or 0, right? It doesn't matter because both are taking 1 only, right? Both I will process distance 1 only first, right? You can take it any order, write it in any order, right? So let's say this is what I am going to do, right? Now after that, from this, right? So 1 and 2, 1 distance, 2 index, right? Distance and index, distance and index, distance and index. Okay, so distance is 1 and index 2, right? Index 2, right? So required is 16 and 7, so among them only 7 I can send, right? So 7 into 1, 7, 7 number of steps for 7 currency, right? Okay, I can't do any further, right? Because it will become negative, right? This is I process this, then this I will process, right? Distance 1 and at 0. So here if I already processed 7, remaining is, what is the remaining part? remaining is 16, minus 16 was there, required was 16 only, needed was 16 only, minus of this 16, and 7 I already sent, so I am going to get 9, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, that's 9 only, right? So now needed is 9, right? Now I'm going to process this. So tell me, 14 I can send and 9, so I will only send 9 only, right? Minimum, right? So if I send 9 now from here 14, so I'm going to left with 5 here, here I'm going to left with 12, here 0, and here it is going to become 0, right? Right? And what is the overall sum actually for this one? So 14 plus 12, 6, 26. 26 plus 7 is 33, and 33 minus 16 is nothing but 7, and here 17, right? 17 is the total sum, 17. And here if you notice now, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, here also in the final portion I'm getting 17 only, always, right? So here if you see, uh, total sum is 0, right? So in the balance also I'm getting 0 in the, only in the end. Here also it is 6 minus 4, 2 total, and here also if you do the calculate of this calculation of this, 2 will get 2, here also you will get 2, you will get 2, right? So I hope that this is clear, right? So this is how I'm going to do, right? So I have to do this because I can directly send all the money from here to here, right? Then maybe after that I use this, but this is bad, I don't want to use this, right? For, right, let's say I send money from here to here, so 14 steps, right? 14 to 1, and from here to here, now 2 is the remaining, so I send 2 from here, but this 2 is at 2 distance, right? So I will get 18, but 18 is not the answer, answer is 16. So that is why we need to do this, right? So that is why, very good problem, right? Let's see the code now, right? Okay, so here calculate the balance dot length, right? Total is 0, negative index is -1 initially. Just iterate over the complete array, add the values in this total. If balance is negative at any point, just update it to negative index to that particular index. If total is less than 0, then simply return -1, answer is not possible. If negative index is equal to -1, that simply means we didn't find any negative index, any value which is negative in the balance. So in that case, we have to return 0, right? Okay. Now how much amount we need? So minus of balance at negative index, right? Now here I'm going to calculate the number of moves, right? First we have to store the donors as distance and index. So list of int array, right, in which we have distance and I value, right? I'm creating one array list. I'm going to iterate over all the elements one by one. If I is equal to negative index and balance of I is less than equal to 0, right? In that case, just continue, then we can't send the money from here. But if we can send money from here, if we have some positive value, right, greater than 0, so I am going to calculate the distance. So we have to check two type of distance, right? Circular area, right? So from here or maybe from back if I take, so distance is equal to math.min 2d or n minus d. So whatever I'm going to get, right, this distance is nothing but this distance or n minus d. So this distance is nothing but minimum of these two, minimum of d or minimum of n minus d, right? So in the donors I'm just going to add the distance and I, right? Clear? Then we have to sort by the closest distance first. So I'm going to sort this list, array list donors dot sort, and comparator dot comparing int based on the first value. First value is nothing but this, at 0 index we have distance, right? Based on this I'm sorting. Now after that I will just iterate over all the donors I have. So if needed is equal to 0, then break it, then we don't need to do anything further. But after that take the index and how much we can send. So minimum of needed or balance at that index, right? So then take into donor of 0, right? Donor of 0, right? This is what I am going to do, right? So I will just calculate the moves, right? right here. This is what I can do, right? Then needed, after that I have to subtract. Okay, needed I have to subtract. And what is donor of 0 is nothing but distance, right? This is nothing but distance and how much I can send, right? Donor is nothing but iterating over donors is nothing but distance and I, right? So donor of 0 means distance to how much I can send, right? So that is the number of moves, right? And needed I have to subtract, right? And in the end, if needed is equal to 0, right, in that case return moves, otherwise we have to return -1, right? Actually you can skip this part, I think, because here you are already taking care of this, right? So definitely you will get some value in the need, right? Definitely answer is possible, right? But still no issues, you will be able to pass the solution with this code, right? So that's it. So I hope that you guys are clear with question number 3 of weekly contest 480. If you guys still have any doubts, then please feel free to ask in comment section. Till then, keep coding and keep practicing. Meet you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.